We already know, Miss Taker, you took it.
Consent doesn't necessarily equate, does not require desire. It requires choice.
Mistaken. That's interesting because earlier you told me by definition it had to be an enthusiastic yes. Enthusiastic yes. This is the first time I've ever heard it, and you told it to me.
I was referring to the situation in which you were talking about.
You were referring to consent.
I'm referring to a different scenario, a different situation. I can speak from the way that I felt in that situation and vice versa. It's like I said, it's a consensual compromise within a marriage. Sometimes I'm not going to have the desire in the moment, but you don't need desire to consent.
Was she the one who coerced him, or was he the one who said, hey, you know what, I don't necessarily want to do this, but I know she wants it? Wouldn't that be the contextual question to ask?
But let's say she didn't.
That's what we made clear earlier.
Because my scenario was, but the scenario was that's what.
No, not you, Mon. I'm talking about mistaken, not you.
Yeah, but I just want to make it clear that the scenario was that a lot of women young women don't say no, but they don't want to do it, and I'm aware of that. So in this scenario, she's admitting that I know my man did not want to do it to me. I know that tonight he did not sexually want me, but I sexually wanted him. And even though he didn't say no, he did it for me. But she was well aware that he did not want her sexually that night.
So what's that essay?
So that's an essay.
You asked me to determine her situation, to which I
said both. I asked for both.
Right. And I wanted to start
with similar. That's fine. You can. So what you gonna say about mistakens?
Right. I wanted her to clarify if she was the aggressor or if he was the one who said, hey, you know, I don't necessarily want to do this, but I know she does. That was the criteria.
So the criteria too is also about discussion within a marriage in general. So that for us, we have an understanding too that is sometimes it's about, like we said, consent and conversation. When my husband tells me no, and it's a no, it's a no. When I say no, it's a no. There's no argument around that. So I don't understand where you.
So what determines that he doesn't want to do it? Like, does he tell you I don't really want to do it?
Yeah, when he says he really don't want to do it, he doesn't.
No mistaken. She's asking you about the scenario you brought up earlier. How did you know that he didn't want to do it?
Retracted it, bro.
How am I retracting? If he says it's a
mistaken.
no,
how did you know that your man did not want to have sex with you?
If he says like, man, I'm tired right now, something like that, and I'll be like, okay, or be like, babe, you know, and I'll ask him, he'll be like, okay, if he's up to doing it. If he says no, even if he's tired, he'll say, babe, wait till the morning. Like, I'm really tired. I got you in the morning. And that's the end of it.
I think Darwin was.
So Monty, what was your context then?
My context was that I was in a relationship where a woman, she was lit, and I did not want to have sex at all, but she was begging for it. Like, yo, like, let me, you know, I'm like, no, I don't want to have sex. She trying to pull my pants down and all that. And I'm like, all right, I give in. And
you were essayed, friend.
I don't
I told you.
Well,
you essayed.
You were essayed. You don't have to believe it. Many men don't believe it. I mean, I've talked to men who, you know, have kids at the age of 15 by 27-year-old women, and they do not believe they were essayed.
That's different.
No. I'm trying to say that men do not admit to essaying. So I think you were essayed, and I do think there was a little bit of coercion and mistaken situation. I'm just going to be authentic about it.
Do you think it was essay? What mistaken did?
Wow.
I think that was coercion.
But
exactly what I said earlier.
It was coercion,
definitely
but it wasn't essay.
That's all I want to see.
That's what it is.
Real quick, are you trying to not say essay when it comes to mistaken?
I think coercion, like I explained earlier, is a form of essay. I literally made that definition earlier.
I was
saying to you, sir, friend, I think you were essayed, friend. I was speaking directly to you.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying.
That's why I spoke about it differently. I don't understand why. What are you pushing? Like,
if you would allow me real quick, because I just listen. I'm listening and I'm studying you and I'm studying this conversation.
Sure.
And I noticed that when you were talking to me, you did say it's straight up SA. But it seems that I actually
you literally said she pulled your pants down and like she was drinking and she was like
allow me to finish.
snatching your clothes. Like what the hell?
Just allow me to finish.
That's very aggressive.
Yeah, just allow me to finish. And I hear that you're willing to say that it was coercion, and I hear that you're also willing to say that coercion is SA. But I hear that you're not willing to say that mistaken SA'd her man.
Because your situation was clearly more aggressive, sir.
No, they're not the same.
Pulled your pants down. Like you
just said coercion is a form.
Please allow me to finish. I'm not saying that they were the same situations. I'm not saying that they're parallel at all, right? What I'm pointing out is that you're unwilling. So
I'm not unwilling. I just said
pretty. You're better than this. You can let me finish.
Don't tell me what I'm better than. I promise.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I believe you're better than this.
The thing is that what I'm saying to you is I've made my stance clear. I asked you for your context. I asked her for context. I've already explained that coercion is a form of SA earlier. I said I think Mistaken's behavior was coercive, but your situation was egregious. Somebody pulled your pants down to the point where you
no.
That
I'll tell you where you're going.
That happened to a woman. I would be a fool if I was on this panel if a woman said a man was drunk and was pulling her pants down to the point where she had to give in, and I would be called that anything less.
I agree.
You're missing it. This is what's happening. It rolls off your tongue when you say it versus a man.
It doesn't matter.
You're talking about a woman. It didn't.
It's a man in both situations.
You made a parallel between coercion and SA before. But now you're not willing to say it.
In both situations.
No.
Trev, you figured it.
You're talking about the inconsistency.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you making a direct parallel between coercion and SA earlier in the conversation. For sure. 100% you did that. You said coercion is included in SA. It rolls off your tongue when you say it about but when it comes to women, you're saying it differently. That's what I'm saying. Like that's all I'm saying.
You said it differently for mistaken. You said it was coercion.
The man is the victim in both situations. I don't see why I don't see the difference here because I am acknowledging that in both situations, it is possible for a man to be SA'd if he did not give enthusiastic consent. I do not understand what you want, but it's the same situation.
If you allow me to finish, I think that you might understand. That's all I'm trying to say. Is I was trying to say that you are willing to say that. Oh no, I'm definitely saying that mistaken was what coerced her man. It definitely is coercion. But when I kept asking you, and I asked you purposefully, was it SA? And you said no. Yeah, it was coercion. So yeah, it equals yeah. You were unwilling to say.
Not unwilling.
SA. Okay, so did she SA her man?
Sir, I said it 3 times.
You did.
But I disagree with that only because
it doesn't matter if you disagree. They're asking me my opinion, and for some reason, and for some here's what it's clear. Here's what's clear that's happening.
Well, I want to make clear
to triangulate.
Hold on, Miss Decker. Let her finish.
They would love to triangulate the situation and for me to go against you, mistaken, because we have been on the same page the entire time. That's what they're attempting to do in this situation. I understand what they're attempting to do. They're not attempting to be authentic because in this situation, what I'm doing regardless is advocating for men who did not enthusiastically consent to sex because I believe that when men do not enthusiastically consent to sex, that is still SA. I don't care what anybody says or who it is. I don't care the age. I do not care the situation. I believe in enthusiastic consent, period. So if you, but I want to make it very clear what you explained. That's why I asked the context, and what Monte explained are 2 drastically different situations. I do believe they are. You said your pants were pulled down against your will, sir. So therefore, I do believe that is pretty much as close as you can get. Because if we put both of those situations parallel,
they don't need to be compared.
Gender, I'd probably say that man, that husband coerced that wife. I would say the same thing. That's why I said the word coercion earlier when Darwin brought in the example, and I said this is coercion. But then you brought up your situation. That is pure SA. That's it. Like I'm sorry, like that's what it is, in my opinion.
Now, can I respond?
No, there's a
Because
such thing as
one of the
pure
things that I
essay.
want to make clear, one of the things that I want to make clear is that I there is a difference between like what she's saying in terms of consent, and I think in my case there was a difference between consensual compromise. Those are two different things, because I did not, nor did he, have the fear of any repercussions or retribution in him saying no. And I made that distinction before. There was no fear of saying no or no repercussions with that. And the other thing is that
because he gave in.
I just was looking.
I love how y'all are real okay with talking about this now and diving into it. But when we were talking about the women earlier, what you say? Spread eagle, Darwin.
What's the difference between essay and pure essay?
Woman. Now you want to dive into her. Keep that same energy, Darwin.
What's the difference between essay?
Hold on, y'all. One
and
mic, so we get up out of here. One mic.
We already know, Miss Taken. You took it, Miss Taken.
Consent doesn't necessarily equate, does not require desire. It requires choice.
Mistaken. That's interesting because earlier you told me by definition it had to be an enthusiastic yes. Enthusiastic yes. This is the first time I've ever heard it, and you told it to me.
I was referring to the situation in which you were talking about.
You were referring to consent.
I'm referring to a different scenario, a different situation. I can speak from the way that I felt in that situation and vice versa. It's like I said, it's a consensual compromise within a marriage. Sometimes I'm not going to have the desire in the moment, but you don't need desire to consent. You need choice to consent. And both of us chose in those situations to have sex with each other.
I agree with you. However, you are contradicting your earlier statements, and that's fine, because you can just be like, you know what, I changed my perspective, right?
It's called nuance, and I think that's what y'all have
because
a difficulty understanding. It's
nuance.
You
were teaching me about consent, right? Because we were just talking about purely consent, and I was saying, oh, consent has a dictionary definition, and you said no, consent needs an enthusiastic yes, right? You said that's what consent was. You didn't just say in marriage or outside of marriage.
Definition from what Pretty was referring to. So get it all right. That's what I said. That's the working definition from which Pretty was going off of. The working definition that I'm going off of is a different scenario in which you presented.
So earlier, what you were talking about isn't necessarily what you believe, and you don't believe that consent is an enthusiastic yes. That's not your.
I absolutely believe that there is no ambiguity. And there was no ambiguity between me and my husband. It was a choice that we both said yes in that situation. It doesn't mean that we had the desire to do it. Consent does, like I said, consent does not equate to desire. Consent is about choice.
When you say we both said yes in that situation, how did you say yes, and how was it not? How was there no ambiguity?
There was no ambiguity because we ended up having sex. It was consensual.
Well, we end up having sex. There's no ambiguity.
Listen, when I'm saying no, the answer no, it's clear. It doesn't go beyond that. When he says no, the answer is clear. It doesn't go beyond his no.
But if someone doesn't say yes, is it still, if someone doesn't say yes, does that still mean there's no ambiguity? Because that's what you said, no ambiguity. But he didn't say yes.
I can speak from, I'm only speaking from my situation. So if you don't have clarity with the person that you're with, then you need an enthusiastic yes. So there is no ambiguity between
How did you get clarity to the point that there was no ambiguity without him saying yes?
Because I've been with him for almost 30 years. Like, I don't know how else to tell you. I know when his no means no, and I know, and he knows when my no means no.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of discussion in the now. If you want to speak, in earlier in our dating phase, that was a different scenario, because then it was clear. It wasn't clear yet.
We need to
It
close
was
out,
clear.
y'all.
Wait, so now the
So
marriage
after
makes it different.
X amount of
Got
years,
it.
then you do away with the
Because
What
we
do
were
you
talking
clear
about
essay.
marital essay is what we were talking about.
No, I said consensual compromise.
I just love how
Man.
y'all are pro marital consent now that we're talking about a woman versus a man. I love that. I hope you keep that same energy when it comes to women consenting in marriages.